Hey everyone, it's Michael, aka the Movie Ads Guy. Sorry I've been gone for a while. I've been a little less consistent with my videos, I know, but um, I guess nowadays I enjoy waiting until I guess there's a big story out there. Maybe not even only in the movie advertising world, but just in movies in general. I think um, now I just enjoy putting up videos when there's something that I would like to talk about or something huge. So yeah, um, and to my very few but loyal followers out there, thank you for sticking with me. I'm not going to be uploading as much as you've probably seen, but just stick around because I'm probably going to say some stuff that not everyone on YouTube may be seeing, and I'll try to articulate it as well as I can. This past week, CinemaCon happened. There were a lot of reveals for a lot of movies, including Sonic the Hedgehog, Terminator: Dark Fate, Toy Story 4. There were a lot of reveals for a majority of the movies coming out in the next year. Oh, and also, thank God, yeah, Disney slash Fox announced that they would finally be releasing the New Mutants. So now this year we're gonna have two horror superhero movies, starting with Brightburn and then going into New Mutants. I think New Mutants or Dark Phoenix, whichever one comes out first, will be the end of the X-Men universe, the one that we've come to know and love since 1999. And they're going to start anew with a new, fresh reboot. And I'm honestly excited for that because I want to see the story of the X-Men feel fresh and new for the next generation. For those of you out there that aren't familiar with the story, it's about mutants or people that grew up with what could be seen as disabilities. They learn to channel it and use it as superpowers and use it to protect themselves and for people without those abilities, even if they hate them. And to me, that's for several reasons feels like a very relevant message that I think more than ever people need to learn now. I want to get right into what the big story of this week was, and of course, that's Joaquin Phoenix's turn as the Joker. Now, this Joker movie that's not connected to the DC universe with Aquaman and Batman and all of them at all. This Joker movie is a one-off, starring Joaquin Phoenix from Her, Walk the Line, Signs. That's the first two I can think of off the top of my head. Um, he will be playing a version of the Joker named Arthur Fleck or Arthur Fleck, something like that. And he will star in an R-rated movie set in a gritty, I guess, more New York-inspired version of Gotham City in the late 70s, early 80s. From what I'm seeing from this movie, it's going to be inspired by Martin Scorsese's old movies. I haven't seen a lot of Martin Scorsese's old movies, but people are saying it's comparable to maybe Taxi Driver or The King of Comedy. And I'm liking where this is going so far. Here's the thing that I think is really unique about this movie. I guess in the era that this takes place in, the 70s or like the early 80s, when I think back to what I knew existed at the time, in the media, it seemed a lot more common back then to have movies, books, and whatnot that's focused on mental illness or mental disabilities or super mental abilities, anything having to do with the mind and having to do with studying people to figure out who they are. Every generation has their stories that talk about it, but the 70s seemed like a very special time for it because it was all about staying grounded. And this movie looks like it's going to be, um, I guess, like a nostalgia trip back to that time. And it's basically using a DC villain, using the famous Batman villain, the Joker, as a template to tell another one of those stories. If that makes any sense. I will say this is the first trailer I've seen in a long time that actually made me feel something. You know, for the most part, when you see movie trailers, they make you feel excited that a movie is coming out. It might boost your awareness for it, but not necessarily make you want to see it or make you want to see what's going to happen to the character that you just saw in the trailer. This is the first time that I can really think of that a trailer felt like a short film to me. This trailer was a work of art. A lot of people are comparing this to the Heath Ledger version. I get it, but I think what's going to make this version more heartbreaking, you know, not the actor, but like the version of the character he's playing. I feel like this is going to be more heartbreaking because Heath Ledger's Joker, as described by Christopher Nolan, was meant to be a force, somebody with no motivation, someone that doesn't have the traditional character arc that you would see in a movie. But in The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's Joker was meant to feel like, you know, like he says in the movie, gravity, because gravity, all you need is a little push. So he wasn't even a person. He was just there to, you know, push people to get to the point where they need to be. You know, how at the end, Harvey Dent becomes a villain and Batman portrays himself as a villain so that Harvey Dent could still seem like the good guy. This one, he's not a force. He's a fully realized human being. Um, his portrayal of the Joker reminds me a lot of her. I actually forgot how charming and childlike Walking Phoenix can seem. You know, basically acting in a way that just makes you want to give him a hug. I think that's what made this trailer almost uncomfortable to watch because if played by another person, you know, you'd be interested. But when you watch this trailer, it almost reminded me of people I know, and I know most people don't want to admit it, but his portrayal in that trailer probably made people feel like who they are inside, like deep inside, no matter what kind of face they're giving to the world. I will say this though, I have been reading a lot of articles about just from this trailer alone, people feel like Joaquin Phoenix should be nominated for an Oscar, and this movie should be nominated for an Oscar already. Um, I don't think you can understate what the writers of this movie are doing. Also, the cinematographer, the director Todd Phillips, who is coming from a history of comedy movies. I don't think you can discount what they're doing too, especially on such a low budget with such a well-known character. Those things don't really match up. It's never usually, people never usually have a chance to make a low budget movie where they can be free and do what they want with a character. So you can't discount what the people behind the scenes are doing too. But I will say that I hope people don't hype this movie up too much. Please don't overhype it. This is Todd Phillips's first drama, so you don't want to almost give the studio and in return him so much pressure that they have to meet. Just let them tell the story and make the movie the best they can to tell the story, and also don't hype it up so much that I guess, especially if the movie's not done yet, um, don't let the people behind the movie feel like they can just kind of like let up and not make the tweaks they need to do the best that they can. But I'm really hoping people don't overhype this movie, uh, just because I guess I'm a little superstitious that way, in that I believe talking about something too early, awards talk too early, this and that too early, um, it might downplay the result of the movie, how good the movie is. It's like when uh, there's a good comedy movie out there that you probably like, but before you see it, you have a friend that keeps telling you, "Oh, this is the funniest movie ever. This is gonna be so funny. You're gonna love it," and they tell you that so much that by the time you see it, you're disappointed. I hope that leading up to the movie, there are more conversations about, what the Joker represents, why people are fascinated with him, and that one still frame about having to behave that you're not mentally ill and stuff. That hit a point with some people, and it is a conversation I feel like we need to have. So yeah. Anyway, uh, that was my video for this week. Um, yeah, subscribe or comment below, and hope you liked it.